right, hey Blue Stars, how you doing, man? Head on over to gogotix.co and click start, and that's where the full broadcast is. Because if you don't go to gogotix.co, you're not going to see Mike Madison with this fly ass Daniel Boone hat on.
You
He's
know what I
trying to,
mean?
like, you know, is it cold back there? What is it? What's the weather like right now?
It's very very fickle, like a very uh like finicky woman. It's like 40 degrees at night. It got to like 65 degrees. Today it's gonna get down to like 30 degrees at night. It's terrible. It's terrible. The weather is reflecting the weather is reflecting unpredictable times these days, basically.
Gotcha. That's when I went to college in Montana. They said, I think they said it. My mother is from Nebraska. I think they said it in Nebraska too. Uh, if you don't like the weather, don't worry, it'll change in a minute.
Right, right, exactly.
So it sounds like that.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I don't want to rub it in or anything, but it's like 75 degrees and sunny with palm trees and shit out here. So, you know,
God damn.
my
What
fat
part, where are you in Cali? Are you in LA?
Long Beach. Yep.
Yeah.
Long Beach, between Long Beach and LA. Yep. Yep. So we lived in I lived in Pasadena when I first got here, and and that's where I lived before I started Mambo Sauce. And then
Okay.
when my wife came out here, we moved to North Hollywood, and then we moved down to Long Beach, and I've been here since, I guess, for like 2 years now. So we moved into a new place from where we used to live, um,
Okay. Okay.
but yeah, so really like it. I was not really planning on moving to Long Beach, and wasn't really my ideal situation. But I'm glad my wife coerced me into it. It's definitely on the come up, and it's really a nice place. So
Yeah.
no complaints at all. So okay, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Just for everybody that may have questions along the way, we're going to get to some of those a little bit later. Feel free to comment. Um, you can either put your questions in the chat, or you can text them to 202-410-4843. Again, that's 202-410-4843. If you're still on Instagram, you can only see one half of the conversation. So make sure you head on over to gogotix.co so you can get the other side, and check out Mike's Daniel Boone hat. He looks like he's about to go on like an Alaska tundra uh, trip. That's just dope. That's dope. So okay, all right. Well, so let's get started. Why don't you go ahead and tell me or tell everybody, just like your history in go-go and the entertainment business as a whole.
Let me see. Started back. First go-go band was a band called Sideshow. Shout out to the Honorable Joe Briscoe. We started back in like 92, 93, I believe. I was growing into that. They were already a band. Did a few years there, and then I went to Optimistic Tribe. Shout out to
Wait a
Ignace.
minute, real quick. This side show, I'm trying to get the times right, because I remember Joe the sound guy?
Fat Joe, yeah.
Fat Joe. Okay.
Yep.
So Joe used to come down and mix Occupation at this little club we had called En Vogue. And then that
Okay.
was later on, like right before Occupation and OP Tribe started doing some shows together and stuff.
Yeah.
Were you in Sideshow then, or were you in OP Tribe then? Did you ever
What
play
year
it?
was that? I know about a year.
I want to say it might have been like 96, 95, 96.
That would probably be. I was in Optimistic Tribe.
Okay, gotcha. All right, yeah.
I think that a lot of that stuff kind of run into each other, but
I know. I
yeah,
can't remember either.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think around by the time when I graduated, because I graduated in 95 from Easton, so I think around by that time, 96, 95, I was in Optimistic Tribe at that time.
Gotcha.
Do you remember? Let me see. When was the IBEX on Tuesdays with Backyard and Optimistic Tribe?
I think that was 95. I think that was 95. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I ever actually made it to one. I mean, I knew it was happening, but I don't think I ever actually made it to one. So I won't remember.
Okay.
The Met was my spot, so I didn't even really go to the IBEX. I went to the Met. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went from Optimistic Tribe and was there until about I want to say the the late '90s and then early 2000s. I think around about '99 or 2000, we started listening, and then went from there, from Lissen to basically all the way into Secret Society.
Well, so okay, so I'm gonna slow you down a little bit. So you started Listen, but Listen was actually because that's the around the time when I was playing with OP Tribe. Y'all were really the R&B group, and
Right.
it was just you and wasn't it just you and Scooby on the OP Tribe front line, right? And then the other two
Right.
guys would come up and sing. I remember
Yeah.
we did Well Friends and some other joints and
Yep.
did it that way.
Yep.
And so Listen first was the straight R&B group. There was never supposed to be any go-go involved with it, right?
No,
Except
not
for the
at
fact
all.
that
We
you
were
guys.
we were doing like talent shows, going from Woodson to Baloo and all the different talent shows during the '90s, and then we eventually put a band together for a showcase. And I want to say somebody's gonna definitely correct me, but I want to say late '99, early 2000, we put a band together for a showcase, and we got so much feedback from that one showcase. We just started to keep the band together and do another showcase, and that kind of like just avalanche snowballed into us doing every Saturday gig at Tacoma Station, which was all R&B. We were playing like 30 songs a night, man, like 15 songs in the first half, 15 songs in the second half, and started from there, and then eventually put a pocket into the second half of the stuff, and then it just went from there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, so wow, so you're like the opposite of everybody else. Everybody else, I've been like, oh, can you give me like your 3 to 5 minute history in go-go and entertainment? And then 45 minutes later, they're still telling me. And here you are, you wrapped it up in like 2 minutes. So now I got to figure out how to dig for a little dirt. I got to have my journalistic hat on a little bit. Wore the wrong hat today, I think. But okay, so all right, so from Optimistic Tribe into Listen, so at what point did Optimistic Tribe like stop, and why?
Now, that right there is you kind of talking to the wrong guy, because they're still a band in theory. I think
Right.
they were going to do a reunion in May, but everything got kind of upended because of
Northeast Group,
coronavirus.
because I was gonna come back in Northeast
Yeah.
Group and Backyard, yeah, because I literally have played with all three bands, so I was like, I have to be at that show.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I don't think it ever stopped, because even as a band, even when we became Listen, Optimistic Tribe was still playing.
Okay.
So we just me and Scooby, because me and Scooby, Latif and Jason, that was our group. That was our singing group. And we just decided as a 4-man group to start to branch out and create our own vehicle. And that's how Listen started. And Optimistic Tribe just filled in the spots we left, which wasn't a whole lot to fill, because it was just me and Scooby leaving. And well, not that's not necessarily true. We Peony came with us, and Alvell came with us.
Yeah.
So so they had like 7 keyboard players anyway. So it wasn't like they had to miss Alvell. But yeah, that's how that happened. And both bands, but to answer your question, both bands were coexisting at the same time. So so they just filled in spaces and just took on another identity with just different members.
Gotcha. So what was there sort of an overarching strategy behind this new version of Listen, i.e. the go-go version of Listen? Was there ever like conversation about how we're going to like let me try to formulate what I'm asking. Was it just like, okay, we had an R&B group and we just decided to put some pockets at the end and it just worked and we just went with it? Or was there a strategy? Was there okay, we're trying to be, because you guys literally end up being the biggest thing on the scene. Was that planned? Was that strategized? Or did it just kind of fall into it?
You know what? I would love to say, I'm like, me or Scooby, or like the Tony Stark of the operation or something like that. But actually, it just came along more organically. We were, we were singers by principle, and before we started putting pockets in the songs, we were just doing what we normally thought singers do. playing songs, playing live versions of songs. Then every now and then, once we matured and got to that point, just threw a pocket, but in a few other songs, and still sang. So for me and Scooby, it was pretty much nothing really changed for a singer in that format.
Right.
And plus, and by Scooby being like the veteran of the go-go scene, and that transition, and again, I wouldn't really call it a transition, but that changed a little bit from straight R&B to a little bit of swing and a little bit of Congo and all that stuff. It was a smooth transition, but there was never a sit down at a round table or everybody discussing about how we going to bust into the go-go market. It was everything came to us, and that's it. And usually, if a lot of times, other musicians may not be able to articulate it, but a lot of times you create something, you create your own mousetrap, and people come to you, and it came and it happened like that. And I don't see anything other. I can't really explain anything any different than that. We just a few Saturdays we had a whole bunch of older people in there because we played 30 songs a night, and then we started throwing pockets in it, and then all of a sudden the fire marshal started coming to the club like y'all can't do this no more. So I mean, yeah, the go-go, it kind of eased its way into our format, and then became a lot of what we did. But yeah, it was organically. It was nobody ever talked about it.
So why? So okay. So if you can recall, because I think I was in LA or Vegas at the time when you guys really popped off. So I wasn't really hip to what the scene, like there wasn't social media back then for me to like keep tabs. It was just like I would talk to a couple of people and they'd be like, yeah, this band's doing well, this band's doing well. But it wasn't like I could really keep tabs on it like I can now. So what was the rest of the landscape at that period? Was how far after like the Maisha and the Hip Huggers and Solo and all of that was that? Because I remember when was that? What was the time period? What were the years?
Well, the best way I can explain is where I kind of got a little bit of the inspiration that I took back to the fellas. I was at Club U one time and I saw Soul Patrol.
Yep.
And I was wild because nobody was doing exactly what they were doing. Like I had never seen that Maisha and the Hip Huggers ever. Like to this day, I'm not really a go-go fan. I have specific bands that I went to go see because I was a fan of them specifically.
Yeah.
Like I went to go see Northeast Groovers at the Black Scorpio and the Underground and places like that. Then I became a Backyard fan. I used to follow them. So I was a fan of high level elite go-go. I wasn't just a go-go head that just went out just for the fuck of it.
Yep.
So when I went to go see Soul Patrol, not only did I hear heavy R&B songs, but I heard songs that I had never heard on the go-go scene ever before. Mm-hmm. I heard rock steady. I heard a lot of old Aretha Franklin stuff. I heard saxophone heavy songs, and I was like, yo. And it's almost like sometimes when it's almost like a poem, like the poem Marion Williams said, like when you're great, you give others permission to be great. And at that time when I was watching Soul Patrol, I was like, yo, you can do this. And I'm looking at people dance, and I think I came back another. I think I was with E, maybe on that one time at Club.
You were, because he just made sure to put in the comments that he was the one that took you to see Soul Patrol.
Okay, yeah. And
just so you know, every single episode I've done, E has been on and it's been like, I did that. So E is responsible for everything important that ever happened in life.
Yeah. And, and just to let you know, I want you to be a witness to this, because at some point this week, we're going to challenge each other to like a DJ battle. It's not going to be any go-go or nothing, but he think he knows music more than me, and I'm his musical father. He knows that. He knows that. No, he'll talk a lot of shit. He only knows Frank Sinatra because I introduced it to him. Okay. We'll get into a tribute to E later on, because I talk a lot of shit about E, but he's one of my closest friends. I love him.
Same here.
But in this challenge, I'm gonna beat him like a fucking drum, and he knows it. He knows it.
Oh man! I hope you don't drag him across the internet like you do your other friend. What's that guy?
Oh, Jonathan.
Yeah, whoever the
Yeah,
dude
yeah.
is, you just fry
Oh,
him
yeah.
like, at every chance you get. I forget his
I'm a, I'm
name.
a, I'm a drag his ass just like Jonathan. I'm a drag his ass
real,
just like Jonathan.
real quick
But
though, it is a little hard for me to hear you, but I'm getting that people too. I don't know if you can turn your volume up or move your machine closer to you a little bit. I mean, it's not
okay,
awful, but yeah, you could be a little bit louder.
I just turned it up. Is that better?
I think so. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Tracy,
So
if you give the report in a minute. And real quick, while we stop, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but everybody that's over on Instagram, head over to gogotix.co. That way you can see Mike's super fresh Daniel Boone hat. And he looks mad warm, which is a little bit uncomfortable to me because it's like 75 degrees in here, and you making me hot just looking at your
right.
outfit. But pause. But anyway, okay. So he took you to see Soul Patrol because
Yep.
he's the orchestrator of everything great that ever happened in Go-Go. So we've
Right.
established that. Okay. So you heard something that you'd never heard. They were playing songs that you
Yeah.
hadn't heard, and then what happened?
But yeah, and more importantly, I saw people actually having fun and dancing. And this is something that I never really said out loud that I tried to create and did that we tried to create and did for a small time is that I saw people my aunt's age, my mother's age, not at the chateau, not at the VFW,
Right.
not at places where I knew my mother and my aunts and all my elders go to find music like that. They were in Club U, where
Right.
EU plays, where Rare Essence plays,
Yep.
and it gave me an idea. I mean, not an idea, but it made me realize that they'll come out if you play what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they don't come out may be because of the stigma that go-go carries along with them, or the
Mm-hmm.
stigma that live music in this city carries along with them, and they don't want the trouble, they don't want the hassle. And that's why when we came out, we started doing basically like Soul Patrol was really for me. I mean, I'm not sure if Scooby could tell you the same answer, but for me was one of the biggest influences of the early Lissen and what Lissen did, because we were playing stuff like Isley Brothers' Work to Do. We were
Yep.
playing Shalimar, Night to Remember, like
Yep.
stuff like that. That's my imagination by the Temptations, like stuff that you would never hear, like
Right.
stuff that you would never hear on I can only speak for myself that I never heard on the scene before, and that did the same effect. It had the same effect that I saw at Club U. I saw a lot of older people come out and tell me personally, yo, y'all play songs I never heard live before, man. I like this type of vibe. I like it. And it made me, it felt good because at that point, it felt like a lane was being carved that nobody was kind of necessarily occupying. And
Right.
and I guess that's how it started.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember when Solo happened because Solo really in the beginning. Yes, Kisa, just go click. I think it says get reminder on the website or set reminder. But since the show's on now, you can just click that on gogotix.co and it'll take you right to the YouTube, or you can just go to youtube.com/gogotix. But so when Solo came out, it was basically just Northeast Groovers, and Stomp had gone to see. I think it was Touch of Essence, and I remember Soul Patrol coming up multiple times in the conversation as well about. And I mean, I had already been to. I used to drive from Morgan to go see Maisha and the Hip Huggers at Tacoma
Right.
Station every week, so I was kind of already hip to it, but I didn't really know what was going on. And so yeah, so I think Soul Patrol definitely are probably some of the unsung heroes of that, for better or for worse, of
Yeah.
the Shooby Dooby Grown and Sexy.
Let me ask you a question about that real quick. I'm going to interrupt you. What because everybody seems to bookmark Maisha and the Hip Huggers with that I guess shift or change. What did they, because again, I am unfamiliar with the plight and the creation and the career of Maisha and Hip Huggers. What did they do that gave other people permission to do whatever they did? Because again, from my perspective, which is kind of like a voyeur, I remember being on Qual Street and hearing Michael Muse sing "Lady in My Life" and singing R&B songs, and hearing Luther sing R&B songs back as early as the '80s. So
Yep.
when I heard that Mice and the Mice and the Hip Huggers were singing songs, I didn't see it as anything different. But when
Right.
Lissen started doing it, And when I heard Soul Patrol doing it, it was received as something different.
Well, I think it was the quantity, the amount of songs
Gotcha.
per
Okay.
set. I think we always play. I mean, even when Northeast Groovers were before that, we would play "Lovely Day" or whatever. Like, there was always like a song or two that would get thrown in there. But when you're doing the whole entire set of basically, for the most part, oldies but goodies, and there was the quality of the vocals as well. Like
Right.
my
Right.
thing. And I mean, this was a long time ago, so my memory may not be the greatest, but I just remember that I remember the sound being very clean. Um, uh, and I think that was one of the first times that I realized how important the sound guy was, because I remember there would be one night where it would be one guy and it would sound amazing, and then there would be another guy, because coming up playing at GoGo was just like, the sound's always fucked up. Like, I'm just used to it. You know what I mean? That's just
Yep.
what it always sounds like. But then I really noticed the difference. I feel like there at Tacoma Station watching them, and then they would sort of at the end, they would, like Sugar Bear would come out and they would do some go-go stuff.
Yeah.
But there was always kind of a somewhat of a pocket underneath everything. And yeah, I think it was just the quantity. And it's a long ass answer to your simple question.
Okay. And I see now by you saying that, I see where they've looked and received us as an not necessarily an extension, but an extension, but maybe like an evolution of what Maisha, the product they were putting out, because where they were doing a lot of stuff in the R&B songs and putting them in a pocket feel, we were doing basically like straight ahead R&B concert style feel,
Yeah.
where we wouldn't even do that. So I totally get that. I totally get that now. I totally get that now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, as a nice sort of segue into, I mean, I think there's a very, I think there's sort of a very clear cut reason why Lissen was received in the way that you were, and that was because of the presentation and because of the, um, like, it was more. I mean, not every single show. I only saw you guys a few times, but again, I wasn't here. Wasn't even in DC for most of the time you guys were popping. But it felt more like a concert, a go-go concert, than a go-go. Than a
Yeah.
party. It wasn't like people were just there to dance. It was like, man, these motherfuckers can sing and they can play their instruments, and they are not overplaying. They're not over singing. They're not underplaying. They're not under singing. There was just, there's a tendency, I think, for musicians in go-go, because of their sort of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to articulate it, because everybody's such a good musician. I was trying to find a college word, but I fucked it up. So, because everybody's so great at playing their instrument, they always want to show every 5 seconds that they're great at playing their instrument. And then when you got everybody in the band,
That's a very, very nice way of people going in business for themselves. That's a very, very nice way. No, I'll say it. In go-go, for everybody that's listening that may not necessarily be totally what's the word, initiated in the go-go, the go-go format or the go-go culture. A lot of times you will hear a lot of things going on. Go-go has a lot of great musicians, make no mistake about it. But the great bands have a discipline about them where everybody is not being a hero all at one time.
Yep.
Whereas the lower tier of bands have a lot of guys that all at one time are, I like to call it, going in business for themselves, where everybody's soloing, everybody's doing stuff that's not necessarily congruent with the one song. And it was a lot of that going on. But sticking straight to your point about the concert style, I think and this definitely deserves mentioning. One thing that definitely put us over in that realm that you speak of is having somebody that didn't belong there being there. Like Yanni didn't belong in go-go. Yanni's voice has never been seen in go-go before or since. Like somebody with her voice, straight from church, straight with that type of discipline, with that type of power and that type of tools in her bag. You like, she was an accidental tourist more than anybody else I've ever seen in go-go. And when she got in the band, again, we talking about the evolution of, because we played into conversations for a while before Yanni, we pulled Yanni up. And when she got in the band, it made us take on a totally different complexion. And it was like, so on top of like Mike and Scooby singing, now we got this female voice that can sing everything else. And not just sing everything else, because we've had female singers in bands all the time, and I'm not to devalue any of their worth, because there are a lot of great female singers in the culture of go-go. But this voice was unique, and you hadn't heard Yanni's voice before or after. And I think that her voice definitely put us over and it took us to another level as far as that presentation and concert side that you speak of.
Right. Well, and so that sort of leads me to another point, because you said Yanni's voice didn't belong in go-go. And I think, well, first of all, I distinctly remember seeing Yanni at, I think this was after the split, seeing her at, what's up, Big Doug? I'm not sure if you're still on the Instagram, but if you are, head over to youtube.com/GOGOTIX or just GOGOTIX.co and click on today's episode so you can watch both sides of the conversation. Now we got my man Big Doug from Big Bad Northeast Brewers on the line.
Shout out to Big Doug, man.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he made it over to YouTube yet, so that's sort of a thing that I always wanted to sort of break out of. You know what I mean? Is that the sort of, and I don't mean to insinuate that this is what you meant when you said that, but I feel like there's sort of an innate thanks, Dick. Come on over to YouTube. There's sort of, and I need to get you on here too. There's sort of an innate like inferiority complex in go-go, where it's like we do things differently than the rest of the industry, which is true, and that we're like, there's always sort of just like an understanding that we're not good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not good enough to play on the big stage. And I think that's sort of it's true to a certain extent, but it's also not really borne out by the facts, just only because I know lots of people in the industry, in the greater music industry, that have a hell of a lot of respect for go-go and the musicians within go-go. Right. The problem is that we haven't been able to sort of package things up in a way that that your average, whatever 30-year-old Asian kid in Sacramento will understand. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's sort of what I want. That's sort of like what this series was designed to sort of. Oh, Scooby's on here now too on YouTube. What's up, Frank?
Shout out to Frank Sirius.
Yeah, there he is. He'll be on next week.
Company.
Yeah, yes, sir. So it's like we sort of there's like this underlying theme of that's not how we do it in go-go. You know what I'm saying? But I hope Big Doug is on here. I'm not sure if he's on here or not, but I just because I want him to hear, and I think I told him before, but how much he changed my life. Because when we had Solo, Dig and I used to argue like cats and dogs. I did not have any of the I wasn't involved in management. I didn't have anything to do with the marketing or anything of Solo, other than the fact that I came up with the name. Other than that, I didn't do anything with the business side. Okay. But I wanted to, and I was frustrated that they wouldn't let me in. And I used to argue with Big Doug all the time about why are we playing all these cover songs, and especially because we had people in that band that, Maestro, Hug, Keyboard Chris, me, people that all went on to be songwriters and producers. Right. What's up, Mr. Drew? Head over to YouTube. And Mo and Hug wrote shit for Jennifer Lopez and Keisha Cole and whoever else, like a million people. Keyboard Chris is a Grammy-nominated producer. He and I both co-wrote 2 Billboard charting go-go songs together. Right. I mean, not he and I, but we were the 2 that Kyrie was in the band too. And I just was like, why are you taking this talent and only using it to just play cover songs, because there is
Right.
there's a difference between people that can perform and people that can write. They don't always exist in the same people.
Yep.
However, in that band solo, there were songwriters in that band, and I was like, if you ever had a better chance to do something with Gogo, you literally have a squad. 88 was in the band too, so and so we used to argue about that, and he used to tell me, well, this is Gogo. You have to play what the crowd wants to hear. And I would always be like, dude, you are fucking Dig Dug. Whatever you
Yeah.
say Go-Go is, that's what the fuck it is. Like,
Right.
you
Right.
are Go-Go. And so that's sort of what, like, it's kind of speaks to the, and literally him calling me a few years later when I was out here in LA and saying, hey, Rock Nation wanted to sign Northeast Groovers, and somebody who I never knew who it was, he never told me, somebody fucked the deal up because they didn't do something on time or something like that. And he was pissed, and he was like, nah, I see what you were talking about the whole time. And that's literally the spark that lit the flame for me to start Mambo Sauce. Was I was like, okay, if me and Dig, who's one of my closest friends, would okay, Dig's over here, cool. So if me and him, if him calling me saying I understand what you were saying after we used to argue like cats and dogs about it, I mean, as brothers,
Right.
then that means that there's something here. But that it speaks to me to that underlying sort of lack of self-worth that we have, that has been beat into our heads over these years, that Go-Go is somehow less than. This is just what I'm just doing Go-Go just to make a little money, but I'm really working on my R&B project. I'm really working on my
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
project,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Where instead, if you flip that paradigm and said, I'm going to take the energy that I want to spend on my R&B and hip hop project, and I'm going to focus it on making a Go-Go project that is great enough to compete with Drake or compete with whoever is, whatever your lane is, you know what I'm saying? Because there's multiple lanes. Then you can do something. And the industry, trust me, I have my boy Eric on here that I co-managed Tabby Benet with last week. He was the head of digital strategy at Cash Money Young Money Records, and now he's the head of digital strategy at TuneCore Pivotal Projects. And he was like, dude, I've been in every level of the record industry, and there are people. There's a million Mo's. There's a lot of DC people in the music industry, and even people that aren't from DC respect it. And
Right.
it's like we're dropping the ball ourselves. So where do you think that came from? Like, where do you think that mentality came from?
Um. Again, by me not being a total historian of the genre, being also immersed in the genre, I have like I have my opinion comes from both watching and being inside of it. But for what I saw us copying a format that seemed that was a successful blueprint from the God from Chuck Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, ever since I was little, I always heard, and it was only because I was into instrumental music and heard Duke Ellington. Did I know that It Don't Mean a Thing was a jazz standard, not a go-go
Right,
standard? There are a
right,
lot of people that grew up and thought that It Don't Mean a Thing if it don't got that go-go swing was an original song.
right. Run Joe too.
But
Run Joe was an original either.
exactly, exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
when you hear Chuck Brown doing Misty and it go like that's the format. That's where all of that stuff started from. That's where Digging in the Back and Diamond in the Back, Sunroof Top. Like
Yeah.
when you heard if you could put Misty in the pocket, if you could put Go Go Swing, A Train in the pocket, if you could put It Don't Mean to Think if it ain't got that string in the pocket, like he gave us permission.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even a musician like Chuck Brown, and I don't want to speak for him, but I would assume that he would be like, well, yeah, do that, but don't do it all the time.
Right.
And we kind of as a culture and as a genre, we did kind of take the ball and run with it, and playing covers became a part of the baked in culture of go-go.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas even if we took the hooks and played it in original grooves, we would still use interpolations of whatever we were taking it from. That's not to say that Gogo didn't create any original music, but it was just too few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. And again, I don't know what any songs have charted. I don't know what Bustin' Loose did, but the greatest go-go song that I have heard that was formatted great, that sounded great, and totally produced great was The Butt.
Yep.
Like that's my favorite song. It was produced great. It sounded great. It had a verse. It wasn't robbed of the spirit of go-go. It had a timbali soul. It had a timbali bridge where it was a dance part in it. It had a vamp section where somebody had a big old butt, had the corner response. It had all of the elements that everybody can say that involves go-go. And we're talking about a song that's made at 80 man. And
well, we're also talking about a song that was not written by anyone in go-go.
Exactly my point. It's exactly my point.
Yeah.
So let's just say that even if it was, let's say that you wrote it and you wrote it back in 85. That should be the start of something of us saying, okay, well, if that can do it, that gives us permission to do more of that.
Yeah.
We didn't get another debut.
Right.
And we were talking about and I can't give you the answer about what I know what you're trying to get at. Mm-hmm. You're trying to say that if we can do it once, if we can do the butt once, if we can do stuff like that, we can do Bustin' Loose. If the musicians inside of this genre are this talented, why are we wasting our time not doing more debuts, not doing more Bustin' Looses? And I can't put my finger on that.
Right.
I can't put my finger on that because we know what to do. We like if Jill Scott can come and do It's Love and take a half-ass produced song that wasn't necessarily totally go-go and it be accepted, that should have woken us up quickly and been like, yo, we need to get on this shit before somebody else take our shit and then claim it was theirs in the first place.
Right. But instead every band just covered it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
and we're guilty of it too. Like, make no mistake about it. All of us are guilty of the same things. Like, just like me and you can both admit, we're part of bands that were committing the same sins.
Yep.
But a lot of the times the machine is too big for you to kind of make, you try to make your changes when you can. Like Scooby will tell you, we had to play Sunshine for a long time before people started dancing to it. Like, there's something, and this is the energy that the crowd gives to us and that we give back. Bands are trying to create. Bands want to be creative, but in this city, there's a lot of what the fuck is that, dog?
Yeah.
In their faces, in their body language, in their responses, and we have to keep on beating them over the head. Ask Scooby how long we had to play Sunshine before you see what you see now. Like when the song come on and shit, everybody, oh, that's my shit. But it wasn't like that for a whole year before that. Yeah. We had to play that motherfucker for a whole year and just keep on beating them in the head with the shit before people start being like, okay, I like this song. And that only happens in this city. And what I mean by it is that response to original material. Like, and I've seen it too many times when bands, because Optimistic Tribe was one of the most original bands that create original material. Now, anybody that can look at it can look with an objective eye and make their own determination whether they thought the music was good or bad. That's neither here nor there. But for their money, where a really, really original band came out with a lot of original songs, nobody vibed to that shit. Yep. Whopping Them is an original. I've heard Whopping Them play a few times. There are a lot of original songs that they play, and don't nobody go see Whopping Them like that.
Right.
And I don't know what that is, because they are great musicians in every band. I've seen Whopping Them. They're great musicians in all of these bands. There's something about the disconnect that happens between the fan and the band and what they want to hear. And I think we have to all own our own accountability when it comes to that, because we've conditioned over generations of a fan that wants to come to the shows and hear what they heard on the radio from a go-go band. And that's our fault. We have to kind of have to actually accept accountability for some of that. But we also have to be courageous enough, brave enough, like Scooby, like WAP, like Backyard, and like these other bands that take their music and say, look, this is our stuff. You're gonna take it, shove it. Sometimes you gotta force feed motherfuckers, and sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does. And there has to be more bravery on that. Like, people talk, and this is the thing that pissed me off. And I can finally get this off my fucking chest. I used to see in all the chat rooms and shit, and we were a cover band. Lissen was a cover band, but nobody else was. And
right.
that was some bullshit.
Because everybody else was, yeah.
And it was moot. It was a exercise in futility for me to go on any message board and try to say, look, yo, if you're doing a hook to a song that's already been created, you're covering a fucking song. You may not be covering the entire song, but you're covering it. You're no different. Like there's a you ever seen a movie called Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks and Paul Newman in it?
Yep.
And Tom Hanks is in the cellar with Paul Newman. It's like, yo, you gotta get your man from killing my son. And he's like, Michael, there's only killers in this room. Right. And that's how I felt looking at all these message boards, because they were accusing us of doing something that everybody in the fucking genre was doing. And like, you don't just because we play the entire whip appeal means that it only means that we got a better singer than you. It doesn't mean that you it doesn't mean that we're more guilty. You know, I want to play all the Pay LaBelle, Love and Need and Want You, because we have Yanni in our damn band. And there's no reason to throw that fucking song in any type of fucking pocket so that you could call it less of a cover than what we're fucking doing. Right. It's crazy as shit. I'm glad I got that off my chest. But
you've been waiting for that. You've been waiting to say that for a long time, bro. I'm glad I gave you the platform.
For a fucking long time. Like you can count on one hand how many bands have, again, let's be completely fucking technical, that have no original songs. I mean, no covers in their damn. We talk about WAP and we talk about WAP. Like that's about fucking it. If you're covering a song, now, any component of a song, you are covering a song. I don't know if anybody ever told people that, and I hate to be a snob at this point, but that's what it is. But again, we got to get away from that. Yeah. We have to get away from that, and that's not, you know, it's a weird give and take, because at the end of the day, these are working musicians, especially in the city, and if you are playing original material, it's a good chance that you are not working that much. Mm-hmm. And the ones that are playing more covered material, more go-go stuff that are taking interpolations of, and the stuff you hear on the radio, those are the ones, for better or for worse, that are working more than the other ones. There's like, I don't want to call names, but we already know, everybody listening, everybody looking, there are musicians that are working every single day of this fucking week in a go-go band, you know, non-COVID, and those people are playing interpolations of, or components of covers. Mm-hmm. And me being included. Me being included.
Oh, like, I know, because I book your band, so I know how much.
Right. and in this city, that's just how it is. It's not fair. And in the perfect world, everybody has band members in their band that they would love to stretch their wings out. I'm in a band full of people right now that want to kind of get away from covers and do more of their own stuff. And you know, there's a time and place for it, and we don't want to stifle anybody's creativity, but this city, it takes more than it gives. Mm-hmm. And we, you know, the local musician that has to pay bills and feed their family from this stuff has to walk that tightrope a lot of times, and mm-hmm. not take a lot of those chances that a Frankie Beverly can take, or that a Maxwell can take on. Like if I'm coming to Philly, like, and I'll never forget this shit. Whenever Lissen went to other cities, we played Sunshine. They danced faster. It's like, oh, this is a new song. What the fuck is this? I like it anyway. I'm dancing to it. Whenever we took these original songs outside of the fucking Beltway, it didn't matter if they didn't hear them or not. They mm-hmm. received it, and if it's good, that's all it had to be, was good. In this city, it has to be good, and you have to fucking know it. If I can't sing along with it, fuck you, nigga. Fuck you. And we need to get ourselves, and as musicians, we have to, I guess, be bold enough to deprogram a lot of people that come see us out of that type of stuff, because it robs the original musician of being creative, and mm-hmm. that's why you'll always see the migration a lot, back and forth. A lot of these guys leave out so they can be more creative and come back. They get taken by national acts, and where they can be more creative, and they come back to where they have their home base, and while they're not on tour, and still be here, because a lot of times other opportunities musically give them more room to be creative. And every musician, you know this, every musician needs that time, that space where they can kind of stretch and be like, okay, all right, I still may go back to DC and play with my band, and it doesn't make them a lesser band, but I appreciate this time out in California playing with Ariana Grande, so that I can be more of me. you know, in that space. So that's important, man. That's important.
Well, I think there's you packed a lot in there. Well, Gospel Go 411 says that Exodus band is 100% original band, which is cool. But also, I put Gospel Go with gospel music in a whole separate category from what we're talking about.
Right.
But
and I'm a heathen anyway, so no disrespect to Exodus. I'm a heathen.
Too.
I don't know nothing about no gospel go. I heard y'all be cranking. I heard it sound really, really good. But I'm a heathen, so don't take me not knowing your existence as some type of like hit on your thing, on your vibe. Because I'm a heathen. I don't know nothing about no church.
Same here. I'm agnostic, so I don't knock anybody for their religion, but I don't know enough about it to even speak. From an educated place. But speaking of the sort of like, how the crowd is conditioned, one of the things that I did, and this is not, I'm not patting myself on the back for this, but I'm just saying if anybody that's listening that has any interest, maybe they could do. What's up, Tone P? We're over on YouTube, bro. Everybody on Instagram, we're over at youtube.com/GOGOTIX, or you can just go to GOGOTIX.co and click the whatever the button is under today's episode, and it'll take you over to YouTube so you can watch it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I told Mama Sauce from the very beginning, and whenever anybody joined the band, I was like, listen, you have to realize that we're going to play these songs for years before anybody starts dancing. This is not a typical go-go situation. So already have it in your mind that you're going to be okay with going in and playing these songs that people have never heard, and they're just going to stare at you. Because when you set that expectation from the beginning, then your band doesn't feel crazy like, well, wait a minute, why they're just standing there looking at us? Why don't they they don't like it? Let's play that fucking new John Legend song. You know what I'm saying? So the expectation was set there from the beginning. I think that also a problem is that not every musician is a songwriter. And I think one of the biggest problems in go-go is the ego problem. And the ego problem in go-go to me is that I can rap, or I can sing, or I can play guitar, or I can play drums. So that not only means that I can play drums, but that also means that I'm a producer, I'm a manager, I'm a songwriter, and everybody knows everything. And it's like, to me, go-go, the best analogy I can make of go-go, in my opinion, from a lot of the people that I've been around in it, is it's like a big barbershop. Like everybody is like the star quarterback on whatever the winning team is that year, and everybody knows everything. Yeah. And what I had to learn is that, like, I know a lot, and I know enough to know that I still don't know shit. You know what I mean? But I know that I know a lot more than most of the people in go-go that are squawking and running their mouths about how things are supposed to work in the rest of the industry, because I work in the rest of the industry. You know,
I'm gonna tell you some important shit, and this is important. I give credit to Scooby because he was way more ahead of this than I was. I'm more of a all in together. Mm-hmm. I'm more of an inclusion guy. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're in a family, you're at a family reunion, you're playing hopscotch, and you're playing Connect Four and all that other stuff. When you're running the band,
I got Connect Four joint right behind.
Right. Scooby taught me, and I should have realized this from a long time ago, especially from all of the experiences I've had. Go-go bands should be run like monarchies. There should be one person dictating. Now, you can talk to other people, you can get their ideas, and their ideas still may not come to fruition, because as the monarchy, you whether right or wrong, this is the thing that's most important. I might think that Malachi does not know as much go-go or music or the right idea for the approach that we should go. But if you're the leader, we go where you go. Mm-hmm. And what you were speaking to, go-go has too much of democracies, and everybody. And it is bad to say this, but you know this as much as I know this. Everybody's opinion is not important, or not that important as a person who's leading this ship. Because at the end of the day, when shit go bad, they're looking at me and Scooby because Lissen fucked up. right?
Mhm.
They'll look at Gang if Backyard breaks up. They're looking at White Boy if Essence breaks up, right? They're looking at Raw if Northeast breaks up.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, those decisions should be decided by the people who are the recognized leaders of those groups. Because a lot of times when you have that barbershop thing that you're talking about, you give a lot of people, and again, no disrespect, but they're musicians and musicality. There are levels, and a lot
Mhm.
of times you're in bands with people that do not match the same level as you, and
Mhm.
and that goes for every single band that's in this city that this YouTube touches. Everybody's not the same, So musically, if Yanni's in the band and Scooby's in the band and my son is in the band, my son shouldn't have the same weight of an opinion as Johnny and Scooby. He
Mhm.
should be shutting up and learning. But when in the go-go community, a lot of the times, everybody has an opinion and everybody's opinion matters, and it really doesn't. I think in all the great bands, there is a recognized leader, and but more importantly, there are people that even if they have their little small opinions about, I don't think because everybody doesn't have the same opinion about where they're going or how they want to get there. They have a recognized leader, and no matter what, right, wrong, or indifferent, they follow that leader in his path.
Mhm.
And we don't have enough of that here. But I guarantee you, 100%, a lot of the successful bands have that specifically, or have more of a reflection of that in their band, as far as their band dynamics or the hierarchy of it.
Yeah.
But everybody doesn't need, well, not doesn't need an opinion. Everybody everybody isn't good enough to render an opinion in every single band. It,
Right.
it's it sounds harsh and it sounds blunt, but that's really true. And I found that out to be true in all of my experiences and my exposure.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, that was something that I. It's funny if Dig Dug is still on here. He advised me to be a little more a little more of a dictator, I guess I should say, in Mambo Sauce. And while I know that there were some people that think that I really wasn't.
Right.
And I think that was part of the problem. I let it go a little bit too far, of everybody having a say, and it just got out of hand. But also that also brings me to my next question, which I've been asking a lot of people on this series. What's up, Red Door Mo, Ronald Moulton? If you're not already, come on over to YouTube or just go to gogotix.co and you can click on today's episode and it'll bring you over here so you can see Mike in his fancy hat, and hear his side of the conversation better. So if you're on Instagram right now, head over to either gogotix.co and click on the button to watch today's episode, or just youtube.com/gogotix. So the question that I've been asking a lot of the guests that have come on this show is, do you need a band to be go-go?
Um, Not a permanent band. Oh. Um, unless the creator of the field and of that specific groove that somebody comes to get is a quest love, if you get what I'm saying. Like if the creator is the drummer, then you need more than the front line.
Mhm.
If the creator of the groove is just the Congo player and the drummer, then you may not need the front line.
Mhm.
So no, you don't need an entire band to be go-go.
Mhm.
Um let's take Scooby. If you put Scooby and you put him and you give him if you give him an opportunity, like you put him on Shark Tank or one of these shows, and you say, look, you got 2 days to put a band together. He'll put a band together, and it may not sound as good as the band he currently has, but his music will get played, and he'll put a band together that can sound good enough to play.
Mhm.
I would say the same thing about Raw. Um, so no, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay.
Especially if the creative is the singer or the front man voice. Again, that's a little different if it's Buggy, right?
Mhm.
If it's let's say if it's Blue Eyed Daryl, if it's Stomp. If you go to Stomp and say put a band together, I think those guys can do the exact same thing too. if the creative comes from a different place other than the front line, I assume that they can do the same thing. It's about the person with the vision. So no, you don't need the whole band. You just need the person with the vision.
Okay. So,
but again, that's my opinion. I don't know shit, because you know what I mean. You might get a better answer or more cohesive answer from somebody like White Boy that's been in go-go their whole lives. I'm just talking about a guy that spent a lot of years in R&B, whose principal is R&B, that became a go-go artist, in the 90s, and then did go-go since then. So yeah.
Well, I asked Donnell Floyd, and he said essentially the same thing. I mean, he just said no. You don't need a go-go band. And like, if you look at his history, like I didn't even realize he had a label that had Go-Go Lorenzo and Vinny D and those guys on it, and they were not bands. They were artists, rappers that had go-go tracks behind them. So, and the reason I ask this is because I spend a lot of time sort of like trying to dissect what the issues are with go-go and to try to like problem solve, to say, okay, well, we already know what's great about go-go. In my opinion, it's the most dynamic live form of music that there is. There's no comparison. I've seen bands in every other genre of music. And like I said, I had Miguel and Vic Mensa's guitar player, producer, partner on. Just so you know, whatever you're typing is super loud. The keys are super loud.
I'm not typing anything.
Oh, gotcha. And I was saying to him, I was like, man, like that go-go beat is the cheat code. Like, you can play it anywhere in the world and people are going to go crazy. You know what I mean? They just don't understand the records. So if the problem isn't the live experience, the problem is the records and getting the records out so that people in other places can understand it enough to build up enough of a demand for a band for it to make financial sense for a band to go play somewhere else.
It needs to be more digestible for the layman.
Right, exactly. 100%. So if that's the problem, then to me and the problem to me, the underlying problem that go-go has with getting beyond itself is songs. There aren't enough songs, just like you said earlier.
Correctly formatted ones, right?
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, when I say songs, I mean great songs. But the only way you get great at writing songs is by writing a shitload of songs. Or you can do what you did and hire Martin Miller or somebody else to write your shit. So when you combine the ego part of, I need to have I got 5 people on the front line and every single person needs to have a verse. So then your song is 20 minutes long. It's already out of the running for radio or for any exposure anywhere else except for DC.
Yep.
Now that's changing a little bit now with the internet, because there's a lot more niche places that you can go to hear, more obscure music and stuff like that. But still, if you replace the radio with the Spotify top 50, which is the new, Billboard chart or whatever, if you will, you're still at the same problem. It's actually the songs are getting shorter. If you listen to the hit songs now on the Spotify top 50, it used to be, when I almost saw every song's got to be under 4 minutes or, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, preferably. Now they're writing songs that is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's like a verse, a hook again, and you're out. Like, that's the whole song. You know what I mean? So if you take the ego out of it by not writing your song, you take the band out of it, which alleviates all of the complexity that you have among managing all of these personalities and 11 and 15 people. And you're to say, okay, well, we're going to engage these songwriters and we're going to engage these producers that will, I don't know how that happened. Somehow my Instagram, I didn't even mean to let it go that far, but it stopped. But anyway, hopefully everybody's over here on YouTube anyway. That's where you're supposed to be. So you engage these producers to produce this music in a way that can be authentic to what go-go is, but at the same time palatable to people that aren't already fans of go-go. Then you eliminated 2 major parts of the problem. Now, granted, there's a million artists in a million different genres who are creating 2 minute and 20 seconds long songs that have the, you know, are formatted and structured and have, you know, melodic and harmonic pieces that are theoretically should appeal to a mass group, and they still don't. They still get
Right.
four plays on Spotify or whatever. So, however, if you're able to sort of like just chop off the shit that doesn't work,
Right. Cut the fat.
yeah, cut the fat. And then when you play live, if you want to, like, if you get to the point where you can afford to tour with a 15-piece band, rock out.
Right. Right.
But you can't do that part first. You know what I'm saying? So that's sort of what, like, I mean, I'm sort of preaching and going off topic a little bit, but I feel like, I mean, I you know, follow everything you say on Facebook, and I remember watching you on the Drummer's Breakfast, and I know, and I've obviously known you for many years, and you're a smart guy, and I feel like, you know, it's going to take some people with a little bit of you know, just putting some thought to this, and realizing that just because this is the way it's always been doesn't mean it's the way it always has to be. And that was my whole premise behind Mambo Sauce. Was like, I like people used to say on the message boards, the same as you were talking about. Oh, well, you got to play what the crowd wants to hear. You got to play what the crowd wants to hear. And I'm like, no, you just got to make hot shit, and then they'll want to hear it. Where do you think the cover songs you're covering came from in the first place? Somebody made that shit up, and they played it for 10 people until people picked up on it, like they picked up on Sunshine. You know what I mean? So my whole objective with this thing is, whether I'm involved in it or not, to just, I just, even if it's 3 people or 2 people that like can break that mindset of go-go isn't good enough. We can't do this because this is the way go-go is, and because it's never worked before, that means it can't ever work ever. Like, nobody knew they wanted to hear Welcome to DC until we made Welcome to DC.
Right.
So nobody's gonna know until you do it.
This is, I've been thinking this for a long time, and I've thrown it out to a lot of people, but I know how, and when I tell you this, you're gonna know how difficult it is. We have long since needed a Motown model in this city to be a hub for somebody being in a Berry Gordy situation, for there to be writers, for there to be Ashford and Simpson, for there to be Smokey Robinson, for there to be Stevie Wonder, all being writers, and we just say, hey, this song is for Yanni. We're gonna have Buggy, Sauce play. We're gonna have Keyboard Chris play. We're gonna have Scooby play guitar. This is gonna be her song. We're gonna put that out here. All right, we're gonna have a duet. This is gonna be Scooby and Yanni singing.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna write this duet. The writers, me, Michelle Blackwell. We're gonna write this duet for Yanni and Scooby. They're gonna sing this song. We're gonna put that out. Okay, Michelle Blackwell gonna write a song for me. This gonna be a solo song, and Scooby gonna play, and Stomp gonna play drums, and Smoke gonna play congos. We're gonna put that out, and we just mix everything up. Just keep on mixing everything up, and just keep throwing shit against the wall. But in the background, we have our own funk brothers, a group of people that they like the Buggy, the Stomp, and the Blue Eyed Girl. We can switch between drums. We got the keyboards, the maestros, and the Chris's, and Scooters, and we can have all these guys. And all these guys, I'm gonna pick Scooter for this gig, for this song, but just a hub where, almost like the Soul Aquarians in Philly.
Yep.
We push it together. We everybody work on somebody's project. Everybody work on one project. We put it out, or everybody work on one song per artist and put it out and see. But that thing you were talking about, the egos, that'll never happen here. Now I don't want to be a pessimist. It's something that I would like to happen here. Even if, like you say, even if you're not, even if I'm not a part of it, I would like to see something like this happen, because we have too many individual musicians that are very, very great individually, that would be greater if we had somebody else to work with. Yep. And the ego and the stubbornness and the arrogance keeps us from actually like vibing and getting together and putting something together. Like between all these artists in this damn city, you got studios, you got mics, you got rehearsal space, you got all this shit that everybody could do shit for free if everybody was in the same room on the same page and with the same vibe. But hopefully we can put that in the universe and that can happen, because we're about 10 people away in one room, 10 creative people away in one room to putting together a song and shining it up and formatting it and throwing it out there. And that's the thing about that idea. If that first song don't work, we keep going. Hey, man, I got another idea for a song.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, write to this. Hey, Yanni, write to this. Hey, Scooby, I got a song that I got your voice in mind for. Hey, put this to it. Put this to it. Because the first song may not work, but stick with a fucking group that can just keep on putting stuff out until we hit. Until something fucking hits. And then we say, that's it? Oh, so y'all want more of that? All right, bet. We can do a lot more of that. And here comes all this shit down the pipe. Down the pipe.
Well, so let me ask you another question that I've asked some other people too, based on that group of people that you just said. I mean, everybody that you just mentioned is at least pushing 40. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where does that group of people fall within the marketplace? I guess my greater question is are the people that finally have gotten this in go-go like too old to do anything about it now, because now the youth don't even really care about go-go anymore, and that's where these scenes and these cultures sort of start?
That's a good question. Because I understand what you mean by the marketplace, and nobody's looking for a 45-year-old singer.
Right.
But so that's where the ego comes in, and humility comes in again, where even if this group, this conglomerate of talented musicians are writing for a 17-year-old guy, or 17 or 18-year-old woman. Like this genre has to get out some way. And if it's not you, let it be because of you.
Right.
And we have to all be in that same space too. Like we might have all our opportunity may have already passed us by. And we have to be adults, and we have to be honest with ourselves to know that when we talk about opportunities, it may not be the same opportunity that we had in mind. But you can still be the word. You can still write the words that the 17-year-old famous person that brings go-go out of the darkness sings. You know, you can still play the instrument on the song that you can still be the 45-year-old drummer that's playing on the song that the 17-year-old sings. It's all about being humble, man, and just saying, look, I want this to happen by any means. And if it means that I'm just a spoke in the wheel, then that's what it is. Everybody can't be the handlebars. Everybody can't be the wheel. Everybody can't be the speedometer. Like there is beauty in doing less work. There is beauty in being and doing just your part. Everybody can't be the hero.
Yep.
And that's what we take.
Well, that's heavy right there, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to share about what you might be working on or what's coming up? I know there's not much going on with COVID right now, but anything you want to touch on that you want to let people know about?
Yeah, I want to take this moment to give a lot of roses to the people that have inspired me throughout my journey. First of all, the teachers, that I am here only because of them. Like Joseph Russell from Houston Elementary School, Bruce Edwards in Roe Virginia High School, and Tracy Cutler, and who's still an active musician, saxophone player from Roe Virginia High School. The person that probably gave me the most inspiration, Mr. Anthony Boyd at Eastern Senior High School, that was pretty much a father to me. Solly Williams, who lived with me after my accident and was basically an angel on my shoulder, and that was at my house to make sure that Mike didn't, pass out walking from his room to the bathroom and actually had an aneurysm because of his accident. I owe him everything. Frank Marshall, aka Frank Sirius, who I created Lissen with, inspired me and was a vocal mentor to me for all of my young years when I was teaching myself how to sing in Easton. Iana Crawley, who I stole a lot of things vocally from, who has gone to the great heights. Buggy, Mr. Paul Edwards, I call him Uncle Paulie from Backyard, who and these two people teach me the same thing. Buggy and Sugar Bear, who are two of my greatest go-go inspirations. Every single night, I never saw a different Buggy. I never saw a half-ass Buggy, or I never seen a Sugar Bear that didn't want to be there. Every single night I saw those two guys, put out a performance that was like they could be at the Capitol Center or they could be in the middle of a small speakeasy, and their performance was the exact same. There were no days off, and that you know, those two guys taught me that no days off. A lot of other inspirations, but you know, Michelle Blackwell taught me how to be humble. You know, how to always have time for anyone, because your gift can be taken from you, or people, or the light cannot shine on you, and you still have to be approachable. You still have to be humble, and you still have to appreciate basically the people that basically are responsible for paying your bills. And I like to also James Grady and you for impressing on me structure. You without structure, nothing can be accomplished, or at least accomplished consistently. You need structure, and I appreciate y'all too for giving me that. So I have a lot of other inspiration. I'm long with it, but yeah, those are the ones that came to mind. Definitely first and foremost.
Okay. Well, thank you. One question that I meant to ask you and I forgot to ask. Why you change your name so damn much on Facebook? We're trying to keep up. I'm like, what is this fucking name this week? Like, I gotta look you up.
I'm just bored, man. I use social media exactly for what it's for. It is not serious for me. That's why my profile picture changes to any fucking thing I deposit in my head. It's probably always less me, my face, than it is Batman, pictures of Bill Clinton holding a Griselda album, or things like that, man. I mean, it is. I don't take myself seriously at all. Only thing I take seriously is my art and my family. That's it, man. So when I'm on social media, I'm here to be entertained or to receive some information, maybe give some information out. And I also want to say this before I want to make sure this doesn't go. I know a lot of good albums have been made in go-go. The Recipe, in my opinion, is the greatest album that I've ever heard in this for made for this genre.
Thank you.
I don't know how y'all did it, but y'all did it. And I told and you could call Black and ask him. I told Black a long time ago, back when we were both hosting the Up and Up open mic downtown. I said, man, the Recipe is the best album I heard come out of go-go. And you know, I have no doubt it was because of people like you and Black and other guys that knew exactly what they were looking for. And of course it doesn't hurt to have talented people, you know, that'll help you form and shape the dream. But yeah. Good job, man.
That's what it is. It's surrounding yourself with talented people. Like I very specifically went to a studio that was not a typical go-go studio, because even though I have a lot of respect for Rio and Charlie Mills guys, Rio was a huge mentor to me coming up through go-go, or any of the other guys, not just them, but any of the other guys, that they weren't producing the sound that I was looking for. You know what I'm saying? I wanted this to sound like a national artist,
right,
with a go-go beat under it, not a go-go song. And so, and then, when I chased Black to be part of the band for a long time, and he resisted for a long time. And it was because I was like, I want a rapper that can really rap, and a rapper that's put out his own rap songs and is talking about something, and it has some substance to what he's saying, as opposed to just shake your ass in the club, which almost every go-go band, go-go song seems to be about. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, all of that was very, very intentional, and it took a very long time. People didn't hear about Mambo Sauce until 2007 when Miracles came out, really. But I started Mambo Sauce in 2003, and there were multiple variations of that band, and we put out about 3 or 4 singles before Miracles that didn't make. And that's an important lesson, I think, for other people trying to do something too, is that it wasn't like we just put out one hot song and then everybody was like, "Oh, you're the greatest. That's awesome." Like, there was a lot of work and years of work that went into that. And the studio process, I mean, every song we spent, 2 days recording each song. It wasn't like we just went in and played the song through 3 times, everybody at the same time. Like, everybody came in and did their, overdubs back over again. And we literally went through 5,000 guitar songs and spent an hour miking up the drum set. And so there's a lot of work that goes into that, which I just have never experienced working with, with other go-go bands that I've been in. And I think that's to the detriment of the art form. You got to invest in it. And part of the reason that we were able to do that was because the band nor myself was taking money from the shows. All the money
Right.
was going back into the recording project and the
Right.
video. That's how we could afford to pay Tabby Benet $10,000 to direct the video and another $2,000 or whatever it was to get closed caption to go on VH1 Soul. Like there was money that was put into that, and
Right.
that money came from, and initially it came from me scraping up some pennies to get it started. But over time, it came from the band as well. For everybody foregoing their $150 a night or whatever it would be in order to
Right.
fund the project. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
was something that was talked about from the beginning. Not only was it, hey, people aren't going to dance, but also it's, hey, I'm running this like a rock band, not like a go-go band. Like we're not just trying to play the Zanzibar every Friday and make $100
Right.
bucks. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
that's I just that's what I want for go-go, is for people to just understand that there is another path. Like there's not
Oh, yeah.
have to do it one particular way. But anyway, I went on a long-winded ass thing, but I say all that to say that thank you. I appreciate the compliment. It was about 50% of how good I wanted it to be, but I was super happy and proud of it when it was done.
Absolutely.
Saying.
And I'd like to shout out one more thing.
Sure.
I do a podcast called The Know It Alls. I do it with three very, very talented guys, DJ TY, my main man Smitty. We call him Dog. Also D the Anvil Johnson. We do that every other Sunday, do a podcast, and we post that on Facebook Live. And also whenever this COVID and this quarantine lifts up, I perform every week throughout the city with Secret Society, led by our all great and powerful potentate himself, Mr. Brian Mills. So
yeah, he'll be on here on Friday, so I'll talk shit to him.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'll have fun slicing and dicing you graybeards. Since
Absolutely.
I still have my red a little bit for at least a couple more months, I guess. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much. And
appreciate the opportunity, man.
Stay warm out there, bro.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you, man.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow we have my good buddy Monty Shulman, who is the senior vice president of rhythmic promotion at Atlantic Records and a go-go fan, and we're going to talk to him tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that as well, and go to gogotix.co to set reminders for any of the upcoming shows. And you can also go to youtube.com/gogotix and see a bunch of the past shows. And I promise I'll get the ones that I did on Instagram up on YouTube soon. So, all right. Thanks again, Mike. Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
Thank you, man.
All right, man. We'll talk.
Safe.
All right, you too.